I cannot believe he talks this much. I watched Donald Trump's forum on small businesses today, so you don't have to, and here's my overview. The craziest thing he says is he'll probably be leaving office in 8 or 9 years. He speaks for a little over an hour. He mentions Biden 7 times and Obama once, and he starts off the small business forum by saying that Iran can't have a nuclear weapon. Here's a direct quote. They thought energy would be like $300 per barrel. This man literally does not know that gas and energy are not synonyms. He at one point will just float the idea of changing the name of the Small Business Administration, then it's just like, nah, it's a good name. He'll claim for some reason that somehow Biden added 350 hours worth of paperwork to every small business, and then he starts saying that $18 trillion has been invested in our country again. He a bit later will say, quote, no one can believe the $18 trillion number. I screenshotted this today. It's because your own White House website says $10.5 trillion, and that number is also complete bullshit. Because he's trying to uplift small business owners, he says that because of the estate tax, a bunch of people just kill themselves. He will say the average tax cut was $7,000, and then in this speech he will say, quote, in terms of the truth, taxes are down 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and $11,000. I've explained how problematic this is, but he also says that the big beautiful bill should have been 17 bills because we wouldn't have gotten parts of it passed if it had not been just combined into one bill, which is problematic. And a big reason that if I ever ran for office, single issue bills would be an absolute necessity. He'll say that Dems in general just want to defund police, but they're unwilling to say that, and then says that environmental regulations make the environment worse, so they're removing 129 regulations for every one new regulation they put in. A bunch of the stuff is just things that I would have in months past put in a speed run, but I'm just going to skip that for now because I want you to get the stuff that's actually new. He will call the war with Iran a war multiple times and says that everyone wants us to be in it. Any polling you see against that is just fake news. He will say that if he was declining mentally, you would be able to see it. We all see it. And then he goes on to brag about the cognitive test that he took multiple times and describes it again in a way that you know that what he took was the mocha. And then he says that Gavin Newsom said that he was stupid and no one in this room could nail the mocha. And then he says that he's way smarter than Obama. If you don't know the MoCA, it's the Montreal Cognitive Assessment. It's a very simple test that just tests how quickly you are deteriorating. But he doesn't know that, so he just goes on to describe the first question of the test, which is very specific to that test. It is pictures of animals, and then you have to name them. He will at one point just say we are 6 weeks into the war with Iran. Just so you know, we're in the 10th week of this war that they promised would for sure be over in 4 to 6 weeks. I'm going to make a little prediction. Let's say 3 or 4 months before the elections, he's going to withdraw all of our forces from Iran, and then gas prices are going to go down. And he's going to point to that and say, look how I made your gas prices drop. Again, he will claim that we've sunk more ships by more than 50% over what Iran had at the beginning of the war, and then says that he would have liked to have just taken over 59 of those ships, but, quote, they preferred that we just blow them up. Then for some reason, Rick from Pawn Stars gets up there and says Trump is amazing and he's done so much for us, and also that Biden said that small business owners were bad people. Oh, he'll also say that Trump will go down as the greatest president of all time. Now back to Trump, he says that had we had a ballroom, then we wouldn't have had a shooting at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, and also we won the war with Venezuela in 48 minutes. Then Chris Wright starts yelling from the crowd, so Trump is like, get on up here, and he goes, the people of Venezuela love you, sir. Trump will just claim again that hundreds of millions of barrels of oil are just coming to us from Venezuela, something he's been claiming for months and it's still not arrived. And then he also says we lost 50% of our auto industry to other countries. He will say that he's just ignoring the Supreme Court ruling on tariffs because he has another way to do it, and in fact the tariffs are going to be even higher now. Then Kelly Loeffler stands up and she says, you're the most pro-growth president in the history of our country and also the greatest president ever. And also she will mention Biden for some reason. Kelly will also say that our founding fathers were small businessmen. Well, not really. They were slave owners, but whatever you consider a business. I made a whole post about this, but he will reiterate his ignorance of this whole thing. He says that the reflecting pool is 2,500 feet long. It's 2,035 feet long. And then says that that's longer than the largest building laid on its side, which it's not because the Burj Khalifa is over 2,800 feet long. And then also he correctly identifies that it's 167 feet wide. So he knows that he's lying. He is intentionally lying to lie, and his lie is so bad that he can't even lie about how long it is compared to a long building. Oh yeah, and then he'll claim that the reflecting pool had, quote, cartons of stuff in it before, and that he painted it because he didn't like the color of the granite, and so instead of it being just gray, he painted it American flag blue. He will say that 1.5 years ago we were a dead country and now we're the hottest country anywhere in the world. And then to round out the entire weave, because this whole thing was one weave, he started saying that Iran can't have a nuclear weapon. He will finish by saying that it would have been worth it for all stocks to fall by 20 to 25% in order for us to stop Iran from having a nuclear weapon. Quite literally, 10%ers, this man does not know how to shut his mouth. He does not know that as president, he's not just supposed to speak every day. In fact, he talks more than his White House press secretary. I know she's gone on maternity leave or whatever, but before she did, he was speaking more than she was speaking. He doesn't know it's supposed to be the exact opposite of that. And quite frankly, neither does she.